Good afternoon, everybody. Coming to you today from the home office. So I've got my partner here working and running around. Yuki is playing and might bark a little bit, but that's perfectly okay. Love to hang out with her. Today's video is talking about what are you looking for? And so there's a couple of different places that we could go with this. And the first one was making sure that you're looking and getting the outcome that you want for your child. And what I mean by that is sometimes parents will look at a behavior and at 5, the behavior is cute. But at 10, it starts to become an issue or a challenge. And by the time they're 15, it's definitely a problem. And now it's so ingrained in them, they're probably going to suffer from it for the rest of their life. So naturally thinking about confidence or lack of confidence. At 5, a child that hides behind, mom or dad, or is timid or quiet or shy can be kind of cute. And you're like, oh, look, that's so adorable. By the time that they're 10, suddenly you're like, okay, I'm starting to notice that there's a problem here, but now they've had 5 years to practice that negative behavior. And as we've talked about before, we get better at what we practice. So if they've been practicing it and being shy and being afraid for 5 years, it's going to be harder to change. By the time they're 15, now it's 10 years of practicing that bad behavior. So whenever I'm looking at a behavior in a child as young as 4, I want to start molding which direction it needs to go. More often than not, a child coming into the karate school is generally going to be timid or shy. So we always work on building up their belief in themselves and their confidence first so that we can then start to work on the other skills. The idea is to nip it in the bud as soon as possible. Whenever you see a negative behavior, you don't want to let it grow and become a bigger problem. So thinking about that. The other aspect is, a great quote is, adversity develops character or shows character. And that means when things are getting rough or things get difficult, what's your natural reaction? And so is your child's reaction when things get tough to say, well, I don't get it, I quit? Or is it to dig in and say, I'm going to figure this out? Well, we naturally want to be able to teach them, to be tenacious, like a honey badger, right? A honey badger basically will lock onto something and you cannot get it to let go no matter what. And so one of the skills that I like to work on myself is becoming the honey badger. So whenever I take on a project, it's digging in and completing it to the satisfaction that I'm looking for or making it better in the next few steps. So we want to develop that same process with your child is when things start to get tough, right? Roll up your sleeves and let's get busy, right? It's not something to shy away from. It's not something to fear. Don't be afraid that things are too tough. Remember, failure is our friend. We're going to learn something in this experience, and that's going to make us better. So sometimes it might be, the karate class. Somebody tries a karate class and they're they are afraid to try, so we stopped the class. Right now with it being virtual, we turned the class off and we'll try it again another time. It might be swimming. You might be afraid of water. And so instead of always shying away from it, how can we tackle this challenge and finding the path to help your child be successful in conquering the process? And I get it. I'm talking to parents all the time, I want to protect my child. And protecting your child is good to an extent. Protecting them so much that they never face fear or challenges is not good. Right? They're going to need to be able to cope with things as they get difficult and get older in life. And if they don't learn that as a child, it's going to be much tougher for them later on. So take a couple minutes and what are you looking for? What are the main skills and traits that you want your child to have as they grow up? And what are you doing to push them in or guide them in that general direction? Same thing when I talk to kids all the time. Well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And no matter what they say, the next question then is, well, what are you doing to get closer to that? I want to be an astronaut. Okay, what are you learning about astronauts? Well, nothing. Then you're not taking steps, right? They may change their mind after they learn some more. Well, I didn't know that astronauts have to do this, and this, or I didn't know astronauts, most astronauts don't go out to space, or whatever it might be. They're going to learn more, and with knowledge, they can make better decisions. And that's the process of win or learn. I didn't fail at becoming an astronaut. I decided after learning this, and this, that maybe being an astronaut wasn't for me. Myself, it was becoming a lawyer. Growing up and watching TV, all I ever wanted to do growing up was to be a lawyer, because I saw all the courtroom shows and how at the last second you'd come in and win the case. And I thought that was really cool. Well, I went to school for criminal justice or pre-law, and in talking to hundreds of lawyers, guess what? 90% of them never seen the inside of a courtroom. That suddenly started changing my perspective. So I want you guys to be able to do the same thing. Be proactive in helping your child learn the skills that you want them to learn, and make sure that they are facing whatever challenges that they have coming up and not running away from them. So do me a favor, leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought about today's video, what you learned, and I'll look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. Bye.